a common occurrence for many people in the COVID pandemic was to pick up hobbies and talents and, little interests, given the ample amount of free time. For me, I was in eighth grade, going on in ninth grade. My brain started to develop. The only thing on my mind was no longer Fortnite or Minecraft. But it became religion and spirituality for me, and mainly philosophical texts, looking at various religious books. And I still carry that passion and hobby to this day. And some, I'm not going to lie, it's some days been good, some days been bad. I carry a Bible with me. I have a Bhagavad Gita with me. Many other texts I try to keep, read, and focus and understand. I listen to a lot of religious scholars from all different faiths. I led a club in high school about religion. But the problems I began to run into is, how deep some of these books go, like deep how some of these books go. It's no longer about, being a good person and having faith in God. It's more, this is the circumstance of the universe. This is how the world is going to end. This is what suffering is. This is what you're destined to do. You're supposed to detach all these things except for, God and God's idea and whatever the case is. And I found myself like taking a step back and, trying to put this all together as to, what is the current state of religion. Statistics will show you that religion has been on a downfall. Less and less people identify as religious, less and less people practice their faith. But anecdotally, I've seen something different. Maybe not more people have practiced religion, but religion has definitely taken on a new shape, and I'll elaborate that on a little bit. But obviously, as I was a kid in sixth grade, or younger than that, think your preteens, nobody really cared about religion that I knew of, whether you were Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, whatever. I mean, people would say, yeah, I'm Christian, yeah, I go to church, but the conversation ended at there. I remember in high school there was a deep resurgence of just, kids posting Bible verses, kids putting a Bible verse in their bio, dedicating photos and TikToks and Instagrams and Snapchats and look at me, I'm at the church, look at me, I'm at the temple, look at this beautiful Bible verse. And that got me thinking that religion has almost become an aesthetic. Now, I think it was always an aesthetic, but I think more prevalent than ever, it is becoming an aesthetic. And, I don't really have a positive or negative opinion about it. I'm just pointing it out. Kodak Black, who's one of my favorite rappers, let's call it, he has a good verse on Roll in Peace. He goes, "You don't believe in Jesus. Why you got a Jesus piece?" And I always, for some reason, that hit a lot, right? I always think about, people saying, look how religious I am, look how in tune I am, because obviously now religion has taken on the form of conservative lifestyle. It was pretty like a science, right? If I went on someone's profile on Instagram or whatever, if they had their preferred pronouns in their bio, you could say, okay, they are left-leaning. That's a left-leaning ideology. And if they had a Bible verse or anything of that nature, yeah, they are conservative. They live a conservative lifestyle. And I think this idea has manifested further. You have, people who are on the far right saying this is a Christian nation. People on the far left who are saying, Christian nationalism is an existential threat and all this kind of stuff. I think, there are elements to both sides that are, maybe a little bit reasonable, but obviously people just take it to the extreme. It's a very slippery slope. But I don't know. I personally think that we are due for another sort of resurgence in faith because of this mass rise in identity politics. People are proud to be where they're from, and the next best thing is something that everyone's looking for, right? You had Andrew Tate converting to Islam, or you have all these biblical preachers posting TikToks on and reels and such and so forth. Kind of, you know, do I want to call this the third great awakening? Maybe. It's definitely not as prevalent as I will think in the future. I think as time moves on, the fact that we are all so interconnected with each other. Normally before the internet and before the rise of social media, it's like, you had your own hobbies, you had your niche, and you were known as someone unique in your community. Now you can go on the internet, search up your niche or hobby, and you're going to find thousands and thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people who think the same way you do, like the same things you like, and believe in the same things you believe in. So people are always constantly looking for that next, you know, what can I do to be different? How can I be cooler? How can I stand, how can I be a contrarian in society? That's also led to the rise of extremism where it's like, I'm just going to push this further and further because I want to be different. I want to be, the guy who's not the cog in the machine. I want to be, um, a different person. I want to be, that guy, the guy who leads things differently. What did you have it? So, and I think religion has taken on that form. Um, Religion is always something that's evolving for people. It'd be foolish of me to say it wasn't. Um, but I'm seeing a shift from the actual beliefs about religion in terms of like, this is what the Ten Commandments are. This is what having a soul is like. This is heaven. This is obviously there are some people who still believe and read it and understand and enjoy it, and I'm not knocking them. But I think for the vast majority of people, this rise in or the soon to be rise that I'm feeling of um, people back on religious ideas. It's more of a lifestyle now. It's more of a something you attach to your intersectionality about this is who I am and this is what I believe in and this is what makes me better amongst others. And like I said, I'm not generalizing here. I'm speaking for a general trend I see. I know I've met a lot of people who are you know, completely atheistic and are fine about that. And I've met people who are very, very religious but just keep to themselves and find peace within their faith. All very valuable and all very acceptable. Um, I don't really have an opinion though on how religion itself is morphing as something of more aesthetic and lifestyle, but I felt that it was worthy enough to talk about. And if you're religious out there, I just want to ask if you've seen that happen. And what are your thoughts on that? Are they positive or are they negative? But with that being said, thank you for watching. I will see you soon.